supporting the expansion of Europe's military-industrial base, as well as dealing with some of the key challenges, from Russia's hybrid warfare to supporting war efforts of Ukraine. To discuss these challenges, we are now joined by the Swedish Defense Minister, Pål Jonson. Minister, thank you so much for making the time to meet with us today. I would like to start off with Russia's hybrid sabotage attempts that we have seen, most recently in Poland with the blowing up of railway tracks in the east of the country. Your foreign minister has said that proportional response, symmetric responses are not necessarily in order. So what do you think is the appropriate response to Russia's ongoing hybrid warfare at a time like this?
We take note that Russia takes increasing political and military risk, but also that they're engaging in various forms of hybrid operation. That could be everything from disinformation to cyber attacks to cyber espionage to acts of kinetic sabotage as well. We are strengthening our resilience within Sweden to handle those kind of measures, and having a strong civil defense. That's actually part of having deterrence by denial. We are working very closely with our allies also in making sure that the whole alliance is safe and secure. As you might know, we deployed recently our Gripen fighters over the airspace of Poland, doing air policing, also protecting the NATO mission. So we are your ally, and we are ready also to work with your security on a bilateral basis and within the EU and NATO.
So the thing is, we are now talking about hybrid warfare, not hybrid sabotage attempts, more and more. So my question would be, I guess, if we are talking about potential warfare that we are currently waging with Russia, what sort of responses would be necessary? Are we looking at potentially changing the rules of engagement? Is that something that is even being considered or discussed?
Well, I think Poland is really role models when it comes to having strong rules of engagements above your airspace. And of course, that's why the Netherlands and the Polish Air Force were successful in shooting down the drone incursions that happened to you a month ago. And you are also a key allies when it comes to investing into your own defense capabilities as well. So we are having a deeper collaboration with you than we ever had before. But as I said, now we also have to limit and constrain Russia because they are taking greater political and military risk. That's why Sweden is dead set serious on continuing increasing sanctions on Russia. That's why we're so dedicated on identifying more Russian shadow fleet vessels on the Baltic Sea. That's why we're also stepping up our Ukraine support, because we think that's the best way to delimit and constrain Russia, to make sure that Russia is not successful in Ukraine.
And I would like to touch upon a point that you made when it comes to civil defenses. Obviously, Sweden has very successfully moved towards bolstering its defenses, both civil and military strategies. What can other countries learn from Sweden's defense posture, and how has it been so successfully implemented, considering Sweden's non-alignment for the better part of the 20th century?
Well, we had the heritage of this during the Cold War, a legacy that we could build on, and then this government entered power on the 18th of October 2022. The first thing we did was actually to establish a total defense ministry. So I'm in charge, Minister of Military Affairs, then we have a special minister for civil defense, so I think that is being helpful to do joint planning. The other thing is to understand the basic concept, and this is deterrence by denial, making sure that you're so strong and so steady, and that you can absorb, for example, a hybrid operation without having any major problems in your society. And then, of course, we're working very closely with the EU and NATO on sharing our experience as well as new allies within NATO.
So we are obviously talking about deterrence, and one of the ideas that is currently being bold in Europe is the idea of a nuclear umbrella over NATO's eastern flank. Would you be in favor of this idea?
Certainly, we stand behind NATO's conventional and nuclear deterrence. We are fully integrated into that process as well. Even though we're the most recent ally inside NATO, we participate, for example, in Steadfast Noon, which was a routine nuclear exercise this fall. And I take note that all the Nordic countries have been doing the same thing. And I think that is necessary for Russia to understand that NATO is an alliance of solidarity and cohesion, and that we will deter and defend all allied territories. This is to make sure that Russia would not do anything stupid mistake of trying to challenge our territorial integrity.
And I would like to come back to the question of Ukraine. Sweden has pledged significant financial military support for the next 2 years to Ukraine. How much of this money, which I believe is around 7.5 billion euros, is to be invested in joint production of military equipment, both for Ukraine as well as for the European NATO allies?
Yeah, so we're blessed by having a strong defense industrial base, and that's actually a lesson learned from the war in Ukraine, because the war in Ukraine is a war of attrition. A war of attrition is a war of warehouses. So the fact that we have a strong defense industrial base means that we can send newly produced defense equipment to Ukraine, in conjunction with the fact that we have been opening up for having defense production of Ukrainian companies inside Sweden. And we have a lot of things to learn from the Ukrainian defense industrial base, because they are producing quicker and they're producing volumes and mass, which I think is really an inspiration for all of us. Let me also say that we have been having excellent cooperations with the Polish defense industrial base. So Sweden has allocated money on Polish companies to send their defense equipment to Ukraine as well. So this is a joint endeavor, and I very much appreciate everything that Poland is doing also in regards to support to Ukraine.
So I would also like to discuss this Polish-Swedish cooperation. We know that this will primarily pertain to naval capabilities, especially submarines. So when can we expect to see Swedish submarines on Polish-Baltic coastline?
First of all, what is most significant is that the relationship between Sweden and Poland is fundamentally transformed. Since we're no longer partners, we're true allies. That has created great potential for us to deepening our bilateral cooperation. And I'm glad, for example, to see Polish soldiers on the island of Gotland just a month ago. And I think that our bilateral cooperation is flourishing. I think especially in the naval and the maritime domain, there's great potential. There's no secret that we have provided, we think is an attractive offer for the Orca project. Of course, Poland has to make its decision based on its requirement, but we stand ready to deepen our strategic partnership in the underwater domain, also with Poland.
And finally, obviously, as you mentioned, Poland and Sweden have deepened their collaboration increasingly since the last couple of years. Which other areas do you think are the key priority areas for the two countries to work together on in the coming years?
Well, bilateral defense cooperation and in conjunction and close collaboration with defense industry collaboration. I think there's great potential. As we are speaking, there is a big Polish defense delegation in Sweden as of now, deepening the collaborations. You do things better than us in some areas, such as unmanned systems and UAVs. We have a lot of design experience, because there's no other country of 10 million that can design submarines and surface vessels and IFVs and fighter aircraft. And for example, we've also been importing defense equipment that you've been doing very well. We're importing a manned portable air defense system, Porinu, and many other things. So defense industrial collaboration, I think, would be a great match. And we share so many things when it comes to our dedication to keep NATO strong, to deter and defend. I think we have very similar reading about Russia and the kind of behavior that we're seeing from Russia. We also have a dedication also for this, having a strong transatlantic link. So there's many things that bind Sweden and Poland together, and our cooperation is stronger than ever.
So keeping the NATO and Europe stronger together, I think that's a key message from today's interview. Thank you so much, Minister, for your time.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for watching from Berlin for TVP World, Zuzanna, Jurek.